We all want to be remarkable.
Your business demands it. Our communities crave it.
You know you're on the right trajectory when opportunities launch you into unexpected directions you never thought possible. Join me, Kate Bowman,
and fellow marketing strategist Kyle Sexton every week as we explore ideas you're not considering.
Share stories from others like you who despise mediocrity, and discover how whatever you're building has the power to
change your business,
change your community,
change your trajectory. Today on Trajectory, wouldn't you like to know what we're going to talk about today on Trajectory? Community makes a comeback, or community building. Community building makes a comeback, Kate Bowman.
That's right.
That's what we're talking about today. And also we've got our first Trajection seat featuring Cassie. I'm pretty excited about it. I was super excited to see this. We're putting out the love online and just kind of rolling things out. And many of you have been already to trajectory.live, our website, and you hit that button that says, put me in the Trajection seat, where we're going to talk about what's getting in your way and building your business. So we're going to talk about that. But Kate, yes. First, what are you thinking about? What are you thinking about today?
So
what's going on? Yeah.
Today and this week, I've been thinking a lot about people needing to stop shitting. Stop shitting all over yourself.
Should I do this? Should I turn right? They're just shitting.
Lots of shittings happening in the world, in the business world. So
what are they asking you about?
So I talked to a lot of people about their online marketing and their social media. So especially after a presentation, a lot of people will come up to me and say, should I be on Instagram, or should I be on Facebook, or should I use videos, or should I just start a different business? And they assume, because I just spoke about online marketing, that I'm going to say, yes, do it. And of course, my answer is, I don't know. I don't know what you should do. Like, what are you trying to do? And so it turns into this interesting conversation of just getting them back to get clear on what it is they're trying to do, instead of, I mean, we've talked about this, just that content consumption of just trying to, what should I do? Like, is there an answer? Like, what's the answer? What's that magic bullet that we know doesn't exist, but we keep searching for?
You know what I do when people start shitting on me is they say, should I do this? And my answer is always no. Don't do that. And then what happens is they people, like, their body language changes. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to say I'm doing it to mess with people, but what actually but what happens is, if they really want it, what they end up doing is they end up selling me on it. And have you ever seen somebody, like, it's called the pendulum swing. And when I go negative, right? They said they should on my feet, and I said no. So the pendulum swung negative. And the thing about confronting somebody who's negative is they can be positive, but you've got to be more negative than they are. So what happens is, when you go more negative than they are, and I'm a definitive no, they start swinging opposite. They start swinging positive, and they start selling me on it. And it's really interesting. They give me all the reasons that they should do it, instead of me asking questions and saying, well, I don't know. I don't know what you're trying to get done.
I love that.
I'm just say no.
That next time.
Should I? Should
well,
I do that? What? No.
Now get out of my way.
That's not very Kate Bowman, but I'm sure you'll find your way to put your style on.
No. But I think that's interesting, because I feel like when I say I don't know, I get a lot of that same thing. But I think I'm going to try your way, because I think I usually either get people that will want to ask me a bunch of questions afterwards, or they almost get this sigh of relief. Like, instead of them trying to convince you that why they should do it, they're like, "Oh, good, because I didn't wanna do that anyway." But they thought that they should, so they were trying to figure out a way in which to do it. So, that I feel like people you can get a lot out of people when you
Yeah,
answer instead of, "Yeah, go for it, because everyone should be doing this." No, not the answer.
I love it. Sometimes people are just processing it, right? They're just like, you mentioned you were doing a training and they said, should I be doing this? Sometimes they're just processing it when they're asking these questions. And a similar thing happens in sales and marketing when you're presenting a new idea, when you're trying to sell a new idea or get people on board with a new concept. Um, people people who are hearing it for the first time, some folks have this external processing system, and so they verbalize everything, and so they verbalize the processing of the information, and so they just keep talking. And certainly it's not everybody, but there are certain types of people who do that, and I see it all the time. And I have to remind my clients and teams that I'm working with, they're just processing. What they're saying is not an objection. It's not a reason it won't work. They're just processing. Let them process, and don't interrupt them because then they will stop processing. I
Mm,
think I think that's so interesting. I think it's so
that
interesting.
is.
Yeah. Community building makes a comeback. Local businesses are trying to take advantage of online marketing, and this is your space, Kate Bowman. This is people want to talk to you all day long about this stuff,
I know,
all day long.
and I'm so excited about this topic because you and I come from the same world of chambers of commerce and local business. You're still in that world, and I
Mhm.
am obviously very connected to
You're
my
recovering.
community. I'm in
You're recovering.
recovery. It was hard to leave. That world is it's a great place with awesome people
Well,
that are very passionate about their business and what
there
they want
are
to
there are a few self-help programs that get you completely separated and detached. Well, yeah, I mean, the thing about what you're talking about, Kate, about chambers of commerce is that chambers are focused on proximity-based communities. But within a proximity-based community, there are a lot of other communities. You can niche out the business community and the education community, but you can niche out even further. You can go private education community. You can go the political junkie community, the cave people community. You know what the cave people are, Kate?
the
Cave,
cave
CAVE.
the
Yeah,
cave people.
citizens against virtually everything. There's a cave people group in every community where they sometimes they're headed by a guy named Dr. No. He just is he's the guy who testifies at city council and says, whatever your idea is, it's terrible. Here's why it's not going to work. And that old codger has a blog, and he thinks he's really high tech because he's got a blog and he's got an audience of 4.
Oh my
Yeah.
god. That's like Yimby and NIMBY. The yes people
What's
and
YIMBY and
NIMBY.
NIMBY?
Yimby.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes in my backyard and no in my backyard.
Oh, not in my backyard.
Be a Yimby
Not in my
person.
backyard. Yeah. So tell me about how you view um, building community, Kate Bowman, because this is stronger communities and better businesses is what I'm all about. I
Absolutely.
love this top. Love this topic.
Yeah, this is the best, and there's a lot of opportunity for businesses, local businesses, to think about their marketing and think about their networking in a completely different way. So instead of focusing so much on how am I going to create the next Facebook ad that works or get on Instagram or video, knowing that they're really not even going to do it because they
Yeah.
don't really want to and it might not make the most sense for them. How can we as business owners take a look at what's happening in our community and see how we can get more involved and also help our business? So a lot of the businesses, I mean, I'll talk a little bit about the retail businesses that have an actual physical location, and the ones that are winning, they're super involved in the community. They sponsor different events. They participate in the local activities that are happening, and they strategically look for people that they can collaborate with. And that's what
Mhm.
I find so fascinating is even if you don't have to have a huge budget. You don't need thousands of dollars to sponsor events. You could, if you have a restaurant, there's a lot of this happening now with the the healthy restaurants. They're bringing
Hmm.
in different health coaches or different businesses to come in and do little workshops and seminars. It's great for the restaurant because they're bringing in new people. It's great for the coach that gets to share some awesome information. There's a local chiropractor that's doing that all over town and sponsoring different events that, like a yoga, a free yoga class on a Saturday morning, and it's sponsored by this guy that helps people with weight loss and nutrition. Obviously, that's a nice little match. And so it's a win win for both parties. And the people that are really figuring out how to leverage their membership organizations, like their chambers of commerce and like all of these other groups that they're part of, those are the ones that
Lots of
are winning.
association, yeah. Service organizations, associations,
Yeah,
right?
those
They're all about community. Yeah. So what you're
absolutely.
talking about is how a business can create that sense of community that they own, right? By taking advantage of opportunities that exist within maybe other organizations within their region. But don't you find that some people get tactical like really quickly, because you use the word leverage, um, and people move to mass really quickly. they they want to use technology. They instantly go to technology, or I have no idea how to manage that, or how do I create that? Am I creating community through a list? Am I creating community through an event? Am I creating community through a Facebook group or a page? And what's the difference? And oh my God, now I've gone cross-eyed. Right
Yeah,
now they get tactical so quickly. Where do I go next? And I find that the businesses that get stuck have lost sight of the why. Why should I be creating community? And I know it kind of seems a little out of place to say this, but because we're going to talk a lot about how to do a lot of these stuff throughout trajectory, but I think the most important thing is why. Like
yeah.
when you answer the question, why am I creating community? The idea that the what and the how seem to be much simpler answers. What say you?
Totally agree. The the businesses that, like, there are business owners that I know, the people that love what they do, that are so passionate, and the mission that they're on. The mission and the vision that they have for their business. And there's a local juice bar down the street that this girl, they just celebrated this year their 3-year anniversary, which for a business, like, that's awesome. She's super excited. She was so excited about it. And she's constantly supporting the local community, going out to different events, donating a lot of different juices and doing little seminars and stuff. And she'll just create this little, you know what? I love you guys. I love everyone that's ever come in and seen us. Today we're giving, free juice shots for everyone that comes in from this time to this time. And you just feel the love. I mean, it's just people that come in, if people that walk in there, they know what they're going to get from the owner. They see her, they love her. Jacqueline, she's the best. People want to support that. She has a why. Like, she is 100% into people being healthier, people eating well, and that's her thing. Like,
Do
she's a
you,
community.
do you feel like she's strategic about her community, or is she very spontaneous?
Oh, she's very spontaneous.
Yeah. So I think there's a real danger in the spontaneity, right? And you would expect that from me, Kate, because you know that I'm a very strategic
Super strategic.
kind of a person, right? So I have a framework for my life, and if something comes at me that falls outside of that framework, it's an easy no for me. Didn't always Wasn't always like that. I mean, I'm going through some records from years ago just to clear them out, and I'm looking at all the things that I did. Like, wow, it's ridiculous. I had a totally different vision for my business, and that spontaneity was just killing me. I was responding to people's requests, right? So in small business today, when you get lots of people who are knocking on your door, I mean, sometimes businesses have more traffic requesting donations than they have traffic from paying customers.
Mm.
And depending on what part of the country you're in, and what your metro area looks like, and how many nonprofits are in your community, you could spend all your time saying, I'm sorry, no, to a lot of like charitable requests. And that is a sense of community, right? Some of these organizations kind of have that angle about them, um, where where giving is part of how you participate in their community. But I think businesses need to be a lot more strategic in who they target, and be specific about who has your audience and who does not.
Hmm.
And before you say yes, and before you get spontaneous, uh, be specific, because then you'll know for whom and which organizations and which community members you want to target with your spontaneity. I got an email message yesterday, and I don't open hardly any of my emails, like hardly any. I have a pretty good organization system, so I know which ones are important. This one kind of got me because it was from a brand that I respect. And they said, so and so conference, I won't name the conference, is offering 30% off their off the conference fee for in San Francisco. Kate, that conference starts tomorrow. Like that was so spontaneous. It was desperate. And I'm like, oh my God, I've got to look at the list of speakers, because this is going to be a shit show. Like, it's not going to be good. Like, if they have big name speakers, like, they're going to be getting out. Like, we got to move this conference to a smaller room right away. So spontaneity isn't always spontaneity. I know you're trying to promote, I know you're trying to create, but it can come off as a point of weakness if it's not strategic.
I I agree. How about some it's almost like strategic spontaneity for some businesses, because it's kind of like what you just said in the beginning. When we try to be super strategic, what happens to a lot of us? We just don't do it. We're trying to,
Mm.
oh, I don't know how to put this funnel together. I don't know how to do all this email lists and all the back end stuff, versus, hey, I'm building a business. I know this stuff works. When I sponsor an event that has the right people, you're not going to help. Like, you're not going to sponsor a healthy event if it doesn't make sense for your community. But
It gets watered
you
down.
can be a little bit strategic, spontaneous, and see what works. That's the other thing. You have to obviously take a look and see over the past like quarter, or like what worked, what didn't, and if certain things didn't work, get rid of them. And then the
Get rid of
things
it.
that worked, put fire on that stuff. Like, so I feel like strategic, yes. Spontaneous in the sense of, don't be scared to try something, do something, reach out to someone to try to start that relationship or collaboration. I feel like just even opening the door. Sometimes people feel like, oh, I don't even know if I want to call this person to have a sit down of how we might work together until I figure out this whole plan. Well, there's really a lot of value in getting together and figuring out how that would look together and brainstorming it together. So I'm not telling everyone to just go be whimsical and do all this stuff sporadically. You'll see results. Trust me.
Mm. Yeah,
And
don't do
then you
that.
can call Kyle and he'll take it all and make it strategic.
He'll call me. Don't call me. I don't want that. I don't want that call. But here's a call I do want to get. I want to get a call from Cassie. Cassie is in the trajection seat this week. And speaking of fired up and watered down, Cassie's got a little bit of a conundrum, Miss Kate Bowman, because she's got 4 different projects,
Yeah.
4 different businesses. And we see a lot, you and I, like, we can totally relate to this. So here's what Kate's got. Here's what Cassie has going on. And we might actually talk about Cassie again in the future, because in other episodes, because we talk about being specific. Here's what she's got going on. She's co-owner of a real estate. We'll call it a concierge boutique. It's a concept. It's a little different than just a real estate agency. She is involved in a spa, and she's involved in her husband's business, which is in agriculture. And she's also starting a local marketing publication. She's kind of a busybody,
Yeah.
don't you think, Kate? She's got four different things going
This is
on.
a lot happening.
Yeah. And one of those, the real estate concierge, she's one of five
Oh
owners.
my gosh.
Yeah. Like when you're profitable, and when you're profitable in that business, profits get split 5 ways. Think about that. Really, think about that. So which one do you put all your energy into? Boy, oh boy. What do you
Yeah,
think,
this
Kate?
is a lot. I mean, right when I was reading this, I immediately thought, "Whoa." First of all, I already love her because you could tell in her writing how passionate she is and how fired up she is about making this work. I also thought you got to pick something. Like you need to pick one. She cracked me up when she said, "Yeah, I just have to I guess I need help figuring out the first one, knocking that out and then getting the next done."
Yeah.
So picking the one thing that you're
She
committed to
she
doing.
kind of did. She kind of did answer it for us, don't you think?
Oh, yeah.
Like when we asked her what we could do to improve her trajectory, she said, I'm going to read it to you. She goes, "Shit. I guess I'd have to pick one business, focus, knock it out of the park, and then rebook with you." Yeah, I mean, you kind of, Cassie, you kind of just nailed it.
Just like that.
So which one are you going to knock out? Yeah, which one are you going to knock out of the park first? Okay. But here's the thing. Here's how she described the real estate thing. She said she believes the real estate industry is not only desperate for a change, but if it doesn't start rethinking some things, that it could be in trouble. I see an opportunity to help shape an industry. And Cassie is I happen to know a little bit more about Cassie because she worked for a client of mine years ago, and she's got this untamed, fearless energy. And part of having that fearless, untamed energy is the belief that you can change an entire industry. And maybe, but it doesn't start by changing an industry. It starts by changing the life or the business of your client, one client at a
Mhm.
time. And so, yeah, you can change an industry, and I'm changing an industry, and I love that I'm changing an industry. But I've never ever said that my mission is to change an industry. My mission has always been to change the life and the business model of organizations that create that sense of community that we're talking about earlier. And you gotta be really specific, right? We go back to being specific
Mhm.
and strategic. Yeah, change the industry, but you do it one client at a time, and then everybody starts to look at you and they go, "We got to copy what she's doing."
Yeah.
So, Cassie, what is in the way of your trajectory? I think you know. I think you know what's in the way of your trajectory. And for all of our trajectory listeners out there, if you'd like us to take a crack at your trajectory, go to trajectory.live and hit the trajectory seat button. Tell us a little bit about what you're up to. We want to share what you're up to, and what we think you can be moving out of the way, because it's amazing what happens when you move things out of the way of your trajectory. Like nothing can stop you. Kate, my favorite quote of the day. I'll have like 5 throughout the day, but here it is today, right now. You ready?
Ready.
It's never too late to be who you might have been.
Ooh, that's a good one. Hey, thanks for listening. If we could, we'd reach over and give you a big hug. But since we can't, before you go, can we ask you a favor? In order for us to create shows you can't wait to listen to, we need your feedback. So please head over to iTunes and leave us a review. It'll only take a minute, but it will mean the world to us, especially if you decide to give us 5 stars. And if you really loved it, take a screenshot, share it on your favorite social media sites, and invite your friends to join the party. Until next time, get trajected. Set it and forget it, so that business is rolling. Next.
Hey, did you just use the Ron Popeil late night TV reference? I love it. Do you even know who Ron Popeil is? He's like he's only the greatest infomercial pitchman ever. I don't know if he was one of Kevin Harrington's discoveries or not, but as seen on TV,
Yep.
CEO Chairman Kevin Harrington.
Oh, that guy.
Ron Popeil had the rotisserie thing, right? He had the rotisserie thing, and his whole thing was set it and forget it. And he had the whole audience going, "Set it and forget it." So I take that with me everywhere I go, because I try to create systems with my clients where we set it and forget it. Like, it's not more work; it's just different work. We do it one time. He also had spray hair in a spray can for balding.
I remember that.
Don't you say a word about that to me, Kate.
Oh, you're good. You just take some of this and put it right up there.
You take some of my beard. Yeah, my son Wyatt thinks he's pretty funny. He's 16 and he says, "Dad, you could just do a beard over." Not funny, kid. Not funny.
It's pretty funny.
Not funny.
Nice, Wyatt. I like it.
Yeah.